Hello, and welcome to the Tower Coffee Hour. I'm Ty Tyree, your host. Celia Israel is running for mayor of Austin, and her campaign slogan is "The Mayor for All of Austin." We're going to talk with her about her experience and attributes that she thinks makes her the right candidate for the office and get her take on some important issues. This is another in our segments of Ballot Mueller 2022, where we talk about everything political that impacts our neighborhood. Now, I'd like to introduce our co-host, Ani Colt.
Hi, it's good to be here. And while I haven't been on too many of these podcasts recently, I particularly wanted to be on it because it's a woman running for office and and for mayor.
It's a
And
strong woman running
it's a
for office.
strong woman who's running for mayor. And it's been quite a while since we've had a female mayor. I guess only once in the history of Austin. We checked yesterday. So, but that's just one reason I'm here. We are not defined by our gender.
All right, so let's, now that you've met Ani, let's go talk with Celia. All right, let me bring you up, and there we go. You are on now. Yeah.
Good morning.
Oh,
Good
good
morning, Ani,
now
Ty.
too.
Good morning, Austin.
Yeah. So we saw you grew up in El Paso.
Yeah, yeah. I'm an El Paso girl. Came to UT and stuck around in 1982. So
Okay.
you know,
Is El
I'm not a
Paso even in
well
Texas?
traveled person.
Is El Paso even in Texas?
It's in the Mountain Time Zone, and yes, we are in Texas.
Yeah, it's a long way out there by car. Boy,
I
it is.
know, 550 miles.
So you came to UT in 1982, and
Yeah.
you were 17, and you jumped right in with both feet and got a degree in government, did I see?
Um. Well, I don't know if you could say jump in with both feet. I started in the business school, got my butt kicked, and then decided I needed a degree.
Ah,
And studying things that I enjoyed was my exit strategy, you know. So I got out of UT in '88. So I entered in '82. So if you do the math, um, I tell everybody UT designed a special 6 year program just for me.
there you go. Yeah. Well, I know the feeling. I did chemical engineering, and it took me 4.5 years to get through that. So
Yeah, no, that was it was a really cool time. I mean, obviously Austin was very small. Government was driving our economy, uh, state government primarily. So I think that gives me some perspective, right? I haven't been in DC, haven't wandered off. I've been in Austin ever since, and I've seen so much change. I'm hoping that folks will will know that I'm not doing this for the title or the accolades. I'm doing this because this city molded me, and it's in a crisis right now from my perspective.
well, there are four areas that we really want to talk a lot about today. And, you're right up front on your website. Affordability is a big
Hmm.
issue for you. And you focus on housing because that is a main issue. But we like to talk about transportation as well,
Hmm.
because transportation is huge in the cost of living these days. Uh, we also want to talk about aging. As you can tell, we're of a certain age. And we, uh, we want to talk about diversity. Um, Austin has lost is losing its diverse population. We are becoming more
Hmm.
white, and that's concerning. So,
But I'd like to pick up on what you said, Celia. You see Austin in crisis. What does that mean to you? Would you verbalize that for me, please?
Well, it's interesting that the issues that Ty outlined are connected to
mhm.
affordability and housing and where you can live because um, I don't know. I suppose I'm old enough to know when it was a 15-minute Austin. and now like that's not going to happen. You know, you better plan. Um, what it means is that you know, that teacher that used to live at Old Torf in 35 and teach at Zavala Elementary, now that same scenario, they are living in Bastrop, and it's not sustainable to our economy. We have a vibrant population of folks who are a little bit older, who want to live a vibrant lifestyle too. But it's not. I think we need to be considerate of the fact that we are one of the few American cities that is losing its diversity. We've lost our
That's true.
percentage of African Americans and Latinos, um, and transportation and the connection between land use and housing is something that I've always been fascinated with. And now, in the year 2022, where the median home price has jumped north of $600,000, our young families, our young professionals, and our older Austinites want to know where's my place here? What's my future? Can I live here? And so I guess I call it a crisis because we don't have enough different kinds of housing for different kinds of families who want options. But I want to be an agent for change to say during what is a crisis, and every American city is going through this. I want to be able to say during a crisis, Austin embraced it and grabbed it, and I want us to be proud of how we reacted. I, it hurts my heart to say that people are moving out of here. They
Hmm.
love the city, they want to be in the city, but there's no place for them here.
Yes, and it's we are we aren't living on a fixed income. We are facing the
Hmm.
rise in property taxes is getting crazy, and luckily we're in a position where we have a nice equity base in our house, and
Yeah,
we'll survive on our fixed income. But there are a lot of people, particularly in the rental market, who are running into that issue. Is that things are going up
yeah,
so fast that they're having to
yeah,
move out, and typically with very little notice. You know, okay, they just gave me a rent that I can't pay, so I've got to go find someplace else to live, and it's probably not in Austin.
yeah. I don't know about you guys, but maybe it's obvious it's because of the space that I'm in. I'm a member of the legislature, but I'm running for office locally. When I see um, pickup trucks full of personal belongings on I-35, I see stress. I see a family that is being forced to move, relocate, new schools, new neighbors, probably still higher rent, but not as high as if they would stay in Austin. My wife and I are renting right now, and we just got the notice a couple months back. We're going to offer you a year lease, $300 more a month. Sign here. You know, it's like there's no conversation. Nobody calls you.
uh,
Um, we've had to move recently, and I've got to run a campaign. I've got to be in charge of this team, and it's but we can afford it. We've built wealth. We have owned homes, and that's so I've got my feet in both kinds of camps for housing, except the third one, of course, is those who are unhoused. But if we don't move quickly on housing options and alternatives, we are going to have even more people who are unhoused, and that's another aspect of what we're talking about.
so, what's the one biggest thing that you see that's keeping us from building the housing we need?
Mm. Well, if you go to my website, celiaforaustin.com, and you click on Homes for All, the one that I'm talking most about, that I think could have the most impact, is the city leadership. That includes the mayor and council and the city manager's team that takes our own real estate and does workforce housing with it. Um, we did a bike tour recently, last weekend, and we stopped at the Justin Lane and Lamar. There's an Austin Energy site, And the reason it came to my radar is because the neighbors, we did a neighborhood meet and greet, and the neighbors said, "Oh yeah, the city's been thinking about doing housing at that Austin Energy site for a long time now." Well, we pulled up our phones and we were looking at the news. It was like 12 darn years, and there's still nothing there. And so at this point, I don't want the city or the school district, for that matter, to sell their resources, their real estate resources. And I'm a realtor, I'm a residential realtor. I want them to hang on to their asset, um, do creative partnerships, and at this point, provide deeply affordable workforce housing for teachers and nurses and bus drivers.
And
Not,
police officers.
yeah, everybody, to say, you belong here, let's build community, and not to sell it, but that could be a temporary rental with a on-site childcare. Maybe it's got a pocket park on it. That's your 3 or 4 year place to be, so that you can um, build up wealth, your personal financial situation, and then you can buy something, and then you can start to build wealth. I want people to build wealth, build a place here in Austin. So when people say, well, Celia, you called it an emergency, you're riling everybody up, but the market is the market. Well, when you own real estate and you are the city of Austin, you can offset that impact, and you can partner with um, a, a quality nonprofit and a builder who wants to do creative things. Austin is known over the years, since I've been here since the 80s, we have become known as don't build it and they won't come. And that's kicked us in the butt. And we've done the same thing with housing. We said to certain kinds of people, we don't want you here. We're not going to build, so we're going to not build fourplexes and duplexes.
Yeah.
And we evaluate a fourplex the same way we evaluate a 300 unit apartment complex. So some of what I'm speaking to is the bureaucratic nature of the city that has become comfortable to the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm running to be a change agent. This is not, you don't get to be the mayor and then you get to be the queen. You get to be the mayor and you run the meetings. But my vision is to, of course, be a mayor that we can all be proud of, build coalitions on city council, set the expectations for the city manager. But that's only done with the voters. So that's why I'm being so emphatic with my calls about housing and affordability, because um, when I win and I'm the mayor, if I don't have a movement behind me to say, Celia, we have expectations of you too, and the new council members, then it's more likely to fall by the wayside, like so many other dreams at the city of Austin. I recognize I'm not the first person to talk about these issues, but I'm giving up a seat in the Texas House of Representatives. As you can tell from my backdrop, I really love Texas. Uh, and I am a believer in people and in the voters, and I believe that this is our opportunity to build a movement to be proud of these open tracts of land, for example, that the city owns. They own thousands of acres. They've studied and analyzed it to death. I'm not giving up a seat in the House of Representatives to do another damn task force. I'm not.
So on your website, you point out that you were a member of the Miller Advisory Commission.
Yeah.
Back in the days, is Miller the kind of thing? Because remember, this whole discussion is focused on the people of Miller. So we've got,
Mm-hmm.
eventually we'll be bigger than Bastrop and bigger than Elgin and all that kind of stuff. So it's where our focus is. Did Miller get it right?
I think we can learn a lot from Miller. Miller is an example. It's a different kind of example than the one I just mentioned, though. That this is over 700 acres at Miller.
Right.
So I'm talking about,
But it's city owned land. So
and it's
yeah.
city owned land. I think Catullus has been very thoughtful in engaging with the neighbors over the years to what Miller was going to be. It was very well thought out, lots of interaction. Uh, we had the recession in '08 that slowed things down
Mhm.
dramatically, but the plans were in place. The uh, the affordable component is an example. The senior living is a wonderful example. Having a tax credit partner um, like Foundation Communities is another example of how it can all work together. Um, I think in hindsight we would have done things differently, but it's a great way to pierce the water and say, look at what we did. It is transformational. It is helpful for us. My regret is that we didn't have light rail sooner. In Austin, we
Yes.
wait until we wait until the land gets really expensive, and then we plan a transit system. Um, so in because I'm a transit advocate, I wanted transit at Miller years.
Mhm.
It was designed for rail, and there's no signs of that happening. But um, but I am hopeful that Miller can be an example of how we can do other communities in the city. Perhaps not exactly the same way, but architecturally walkable, safe. Um, you can bike to a grocery store, that kind of stuff. It's what people overwhelmingly want. Their space and their land has not been designed that way.
We do take our tricycles to the grocery store.
Oh, cool! Can I go
We'll
see your trike sometime?
and ride one. It's just wonderful.
Is it dreamy?
It's
She's got electric assist on her trike. It's beautiful.
yeah. Well, it's my
Sweet.
third trike, and I call it my joy mobile.
Oh, how
It's
cool!
I
You
forgot
are
what.
you are you are living the senior dream.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Where do you park your bike?
We are in a home right now, so we have a garage. When I lived in Wildflower Terrace, I lived in affordable housing my first 5 years here. My trike was stolen. They built a cage, but since
Mm,
then, people have broken in the cage and stolen some other uh, bikes that we had there. So that is an issue.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know how to address it except better better cameras
Yeah.
and that is an issue in that building. But come ride with us sometime.
Yeah, you
I
said
would
you were
love
doing.
to.
You said you were doing a bike ride. We'd love to do that in Miller.
Yeah, that'd
Um,
be awesome. It could be a vision of my future too. I'm right behind you.
yeah, quite a ways, but yes. Okay, good. Uh, I saw you speak at Kathy Sokolik's house,
Hmm.
and we have put a clip. I don't know if you've seen it, but we put a clip of that up on this Tower Coffee Hour, so that we're beginning to get the people. Kurt has agreed to come talk with us as well. So it's just our objective, Celia, is to get the people in the community knowing who they're voting for,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
because we vote. I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but we tend to vote in the 70% plus range in each election. So it's good to know who you're talking to. Good
Yeah.
to know who you're voting for.
Yeah. It's an exciting year.
It, that's one way of putting it. Yes, it is exciting. Um, Diversity. We have lost diversity. I love it that the city demographer lives here in Miller, and we got to know her. She was chairman of the neighborhood association at one point, and the last set of numbers she gave to the Commission on Seniors um, was scary because we
Hmm.
see that Austin is de-diversifying. And
Yeah.
so, what's the future of that from your standpoint?
It's workforce housing.
Okay.
I know the demographer is a dear friend of mine. Um, she helped me years ago when I was running for state rep, and I think I got the same presentation or the same numbers where it was alarming, and I don't think people realize Austin is diverse. Austin is generally progressive. We're proud of that. But when they find out that we're losing what we care about, um, it's concerning. And even if you say, "Well, I don't, and I'm not driven by diversity," you should care about it because it is affecting our economy. it's not sustainable to our economy. That you're asking someone who flips pancakes at the Kirby Lane and ask them to move farther and farther out to come and flip pancakes for you. So whether they're framing your houses or flipping your pancakes or doing maintenance work, or they're a nurse at Dell Children's, it's it's uh, it's not sustainable to our economy that folks are cannot live close to where they work. It's just that simple. And that so because of that, those jobs are represent folks who are very racially and ethnically diverse. That's why it's a hand in glove sort of thing. And so that's why I think it's time for us to have um, bold initiatives on workforce housing that is driven by the city of Austin in partnership with nonprofits and developers and others. I don't claim to have the details on the solution, but I know that there's a hunger in this community from our nonprofit leaders who now have housing as a component of their mission. The Urban League is an example. The Caritas and Family Elder Care and so many others. They see what we're talking about, and they want to be a part of that. The city of Austin has real estate to do that.
Well, and
So
that's
workforce housing is what I keep harping on.
one of those real estate issues for the city of Austin is 5315 Manor, which is right across the street from Miller, and they just put out requests for proposals. Got six back, three of them passed review, and now we're looking at them. Two of those are nonprofits. One of them is Foundation Community, the other one's NHP, which does this kind of work all over the United States. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really, to us, it's really exciting that we are looking at nonprofits, looking at Austin to build affordable housing and to build
Mm-hmm.
um, supportive housing for our unhoused. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and build it here, right here where it can take advantage of the amenities in Miller, which is part
Mm-hmm.
of why Miller is here, was to create space for people in the neighborhood
Yeah.
to get the amenities. So
You know,
we're
a lot of
excited
people
about that.
a lot of people I talk to, speaking about the diversity and workforce is the number one issue for so many people. My wife works at HEB. I have some good friends at HEB, so I mention them all the time. But you don't. It's not magical. You don't just go into an HEB and there's your fresh produce and there's an abundance of people to help you with the process. And uh, there every sector is having a hard time hiring people, whether it's the police department, Austin EMS, HEB, uh, Dell Children's. Everybody is having a difficult time hiring up to do the work that needs to be done. And the more we are building um, different kinds of housing that's closer in, the more a family can say, okay, we don't have to have two cars. We can have one car and a set of bikes. We can have maybe we can have a couple of scooters and a tricycle. Uh, as a realtor and as a woman of a certain age, I know that folks much younger than me, they want the creative solutions. So if and transportation is such a big part of a family budget, if we can cut down on the cost of that transportation and help the planet, by the way, by building and planning in smarter ways, that seems to me like what the situation is calling for.
We have a pet project that had some light, and then when the COVID started, it went underground again. And I'm gearing up to getting it going. It's on the last 8 acres or 7+ acres in Miller. And the way we've dreamed it, it would have two new forms of affordable housing for Miller. One would be more micro units, and then also more co-living, where some adults I know, particularly older people as myself, they like the idea of not having to live alone. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's designed in such a way that it serves that, it would also have a community center and a few other amenities. And when we get off camera and so forth, I'll follow up and see if your expertise can help us develop the team to support this We call it Wonderment Central. It's on our website, the WOW website. You can look for it there, and I'll be sure to send you
Yeah.
something so you can
Good.
take a
No,
look.
thanks, Annie. I appreciate that. I love to look forward. I want to know more about it because um, I think the time is right for creative solutions. It really is. And I think that, you know, I'd like to think that I have a pretty good set of political antenna. After all of these years, I worked for Governor Richards in my youth. I've been in the legislature for 4 terms, and I feel like we're in a different political time now than we were even 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, that's why I'm running for mayor. I think that I am well suited to do this job. But one of the reasons that I'm well suited to win is because whether you're in a traditional Allendale kind of neighborhood, or whether you're in Miller, or whether you're in the outer edges of Palmer Lane and barely in Austin, you know that everybody has a housing story, and know
Mm-hmm.
the that we have to change the way that we do things. And for our seniors in particular, I think there's an opportunity to take the way that we did ADUs, for example. They're one of my policies would be to say, in an established neighborhood where you want to keep the house, you like the architectural integrity, the style. Um, there's a movement, and I'm fully in support of it, that if someone wants to keep that house and they want to build a smaller unit in the back, um, if they keep it's called a preservation bonus. So you get bonus points for preserving a house. That's in my view, you keep the house, but the city would then allow you to build a little bit more on that lot. So that's your incentive. And the reason I was thinking about it, Annie, is because if you're a woman of a certain age, and maybe your husband has passed away, you want to age in place in this house, having the ability to have a studio in the back, or a duplex in the back, and build a little more. That's going to help you financially stay age in place, and it's going to help you build companionship. And I know that's important. That was important for my mom when she passed, and I have a lot of friends in that space, in and around vibrant aging, and it helps when you've got some human connection.
Also, I know that sometimes that unit could be built in the back of a property where one's children live
Yeah,
as another
yeah,
alternative.
Yeah, we
yeah.
have a friend who just had a medical incident and has moved into one of those units in the backyard of their son's house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
yeah, there's good reasons for it, and isolation is a crazy thing for older people. It just
mm-hmm.
leads to dementia. It leads to poor health, just all kind of poor health. So
Yeah,
it's one of the things that we, particularly in our work, are trying very hard to overcome, this whole question of isolation for
yeah,
our older generation. Because
yeah.
Austin's got one of the fastest growing populations of aging people in the nation, and they come here because it's such a wonderful city. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
amenities, and but we're driving them out. Yeah. So, what one thing would you like to look at on your website? We can go over there, and I can take you over there, and we can uh, find your website. Let me get it up. There it is.
Well, let's go right to um, Homes for All.
Homes for All, like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know that we talked about some of the details around the policy, but if you scroll down, you can see that it's not about it's about policy ideas, and then there's video testimonials from some of our neighbors in Austin, some who have moved out of Austin. So my point is that I want to highlight the real stories that are happening behind the scenes. Folks who are contributing to this economy, who can no longer afford to live here, or who are stressed about their future. So in general, there's the policy, and there's video testimonials from people, because It's about them. I'm not running to have a title. I'm not running to you know. It's
I
by
like
all
this one.
by
I like this one.
yeah, yeah. That's the
This is Wolf is an
yeah,
interesting guy here. Uh,
yeah. And Travis Heights.
so
Yeah,
you
he built himself a mobile unit and fenced it
okay?
in the Travis Heights neighborhood.
Wow.
So we just need to be flexible in at the city of Austin. Why can't I? If you have a lot with a house at the back of the lot, the city won't let you build a studio at the front of the lot.
Right.
You know,
It's got to be in the
that's
back.
it's got to be in the back. It's got to have. So we just need flexibility, and that's what I hope that our campaign will shed some light on the fact that there are things that we can do as a city to help people age in place, and help families stay in Austin and continue to thrive here in Austin.
I understand that the permitting process is one of the obstacles. When things take longer to build, they cost more.
Yeah, I emphasize that on my Homes for All, Annie, and I'm a I'm a realtor. I've helped people with that permitting process. I know how frustrating it can be. I see it in a different light now as a larger discussion around the supply of housing. We when you evaluate a fourplex the same way you evaluate a 300 unit complex, you are essentially incentivizing building more big houses. You're not incentivizing building more homes. And and to put a little more detail on that, the 300 unit the fourplex equals site plan. Site plan equals 2 years of review. That's why I call it, comparing it to a 300 unit apartment complex. There's no there's no good reason why, if on a lot you have the legal authority and ability to build a fourplex, that you can't that you must then wait 2 years for a site review before you build it. So um, an infill builder who knows the ins and outs of the permitting process is not going to, as much as they might want to build a fourplex, they're not going to build a fourplex. Because why should I wait 2 years when the clock is ticking, the bank is charging me interest, and so if we want to diversify our housing supply, then we need to change things. And I'll also recognize I am not the first candidate for mayor to complain about the permitting process. But if I've learned anything about myself in the legislature, it is I don't have the ability to make anybody do anything, but I do have the ability to ask questions and be tenacious. And that means every week in an Israel administration will be Housing and Affordability Week. So I'm not going to have the press conference and then pat myself on the back and say, "Great, this is going to be great," and then 4 years later, nothing has happened. It's that tenacity and urgency that's causing me to run, and I want to have a legacy at the city of Austin that we took our own property, we took our own processes and procedures, and we made more options for working families in Austin.
Wow. So you don't think the mayor has a right to make executive decisions like the president does and get this all done? So
Alas,
alas, alas.
alas.
um, so where does a city manager come in, and what is the relationship between the mayor and the city manager?
Well, it's got to be close. Obviously you got to work closely together. But we're at a 10-person council now. Um, So we've got some really amazing people. Thank you for highlighting the folks who are running for city council, because when I talk about the different political times that we're in, I am very excited for that next generation of city leader who says I want to be on city council. Um, if I am the mayor and I don't have a council behind me who also wants to be agents of change when it comes to housing, the housing crisis, then it's going to be a pretty miserable 2 years for me. Because you got to build consensus, and you do that when you build that consensus and you set those priorities for the city manager and those expectations and that tenacious follow through that I'm talking about, then you will get results. I think it's a leadership issue, and it's a focus issue. I am focused like a laser on the issues around housing and affordability, and the city manager will know that when I take office.
So our job is to elect you mayor and then elect the city council members who
Hmm.
going in that same direction. Yeah, we've been talking to a number of the District 9 council members,
Hmm.
and I think we've got appointments with
Candidates.
candidates, uh, District 9 candidates, and we love Kathy Tovo. Um, and so we've got, the four guys I'd like to think of them announced early for District 9. And then
Hmm.
Linda Guerrero, we met at July 4th celebration, and
Hmm.
she's gonna come on and talk about her candidacy for District 9.
Cool.
So we are moving forward on District 9, and then we've got agreement with different people to come talk to us, and hopefully this will be useful for the people of Miller who need to know who they're voting for,
Hmm.
and need to know who this lady with the big smile is. Yeah, hook 'em horns.
Yeah. When I'm happy, my horns go up.
Oh, okay, okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I'm a little bit uncomfortable, Celia, because I think you think in one term, not one term. You think in a very broad, affordable housing, and what I hear you really saying is affordable living, because affordable housing to you not only is housing, but it is transportation. It
Yeah.
is all of those things that fit into affordable living. Because I can build you a beautiful affordable house out beyond Bastrop, but you can't get to Austin for a job if you live
Yeah.
out there. So
Yeah.
the whole thing fits in, and I see that you talk about that. You talk about transit friendly
Hmm.
housing. You talk about all these kind of things. So you keep saying affordable housing, but it's really, how do we make Austin affordable in every way?
Yeah. It's it's huge. We are the 11th largest city in the country,
Mm-hmm.
but we've never quite fit into that suit. You know, like we are a big ass city, and I'm going to a ribbon cutting later today for McCalla Place, the latest transit stop at the soccer stadium. On game day, they're planning on 20,000 riders a day coming using that stop,
Yeah.
and so that's great, right? I'm happy for my soccer fans. I'm a college football chick myself, but I'm happy for my soccer fans. But I use that as an example to say that every component that we put in there, land use, transit, uh, planning, workforce housing, and affordable housing, that's these are all pieces of the puzzle. Wage increases, right? We got to increase the wages. That I think of transit as a young as a baby growing up in El Paso. Dad was a truck driver. Mom never got her license. For us, the bus was freedom. Like, okay, Dad's gone for 4 days. We're gonna go downtown and pay bills. We're gonna have lunch at Arby's. I get to hang out at the library for a couple hours. We take the bus back home. I'm happy. Um, I think about those folks for whom they can use the train or a high frequency bus, and can, as we talked about earlier, can say, okay, we don't have to have two cars and two car payments. We can uh, Dad's got a job doing maintenance at uh, Dillard's at the Domain. Um, these are the train is not for a certain class of people. The train is for all of us. The bus is for all of us. Whether we are uh, an executive at a financial services firm, which is located right there by the soccer stadium, or whether we're doing maintenance at the soccer stadium. I love that transit and transportation can be a great equalizer.
Yes, I lived in suburban Chicago and suburban New York. And,
Mm,
they had the established train systems that just made
hmm.
such a difference. I was a single mother, could get back and forth in 45 minutes to downtown New York via
Yeah,
Dobbs Ferry. It made a huge difference.
yeah. Well, how many people move to Austin and they come here and realize our transportation system is not what they expected, and,
Well done, Celia. Well
they're like,
done.
"Well, I thought Austin was cool. Like, why do I have to wait 20 minutes for a bus?" So all of these are systems that are going to go into our quality of life, and perhaps not for me, but for future generations. If you, it's like that oak tree. If you don't plant it, you will never reap the benefits. So we've got to keep moving forward on these plans.
Many years ago, as a young man, I lived outside of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I can remember walking down the Shell driveway to the highway and flagging down the Greyhound bus so I could go to the YMCA downtown.
Hmm.
And that was my transportation. And this was before I was 12 years old. This was, we could do that kind of thing and we could make it
Yeah,
work. And it was, yeah, that was just amazing to be able to do that. And now, for various reasons, one, the transit system isn't there, but it's also we're worried about the danger to our children to be able to do
yeah,
that. And so,
yeah,
yeah, we've got a lot of things to work on, Celia. It sounds like you're
yeah. We
ready.
do. We do. Let's get after it.
All right.
But thank you so much for the time to visit with you guys today. I'm a fan of your neighborhood, and I'm grateful
Yeah.
for the opportunity to just tell my story and encourage people to inform themselves, and let's have some really good voter turnout this November.
Absolutely.
Sounds great. Let's get everybody out.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Celia.
Thank
the
you so
stakes are
much.
high. All
And
right, guys.
we're gonna go away now, and you can turn off, and we'll let you know when this posts.
Okay, thank you all.
Okay, so here we are. We're back at Ballot Miller 2022. We've just talked with Celia Israel, who's running for mayor in Austin, and you can find her at celiafораustin.com. And remember, down below, subscribe, ring the bell, and whenever these things post, you will get notification. So take care, and we'll see you later.